Coach Devin here. CrossFit is melting down. Greg Glassman, I don't even have words. I don't know what to say. Here's the deal, the background story if anybody doesn't know. I mean, you've been under a rock, I think, if you don't know, but there are a lot of things happening. Uh, and Glassman maybe got pushed down a little bit because there's demonstrations everywhere. I mean, George Floyd was murdered and the world is changing for the better. Thank God, it's about damn time. So it's great and amazing, but we also have a lot of things are happening. You might not know a little bit about CrossFit. And CrossFit right now is melting down. What happened is this. Greg Glassman owns CrossFit. Originally, he and his wife owned it. Now they got divorced. Greg bought her out. He owns CrossFit. Greg is a outspoken individual. In other words, Greg's aggressive as hell. And he's a little nuts. And you know what? If you love CrossFit, hate CrossFit, it doesn't really matter. Greg has done something kind of amazing. He has changed the way a lot of people look at fitness. He's made fitness a sport, which is cool in some ways, in other ways weird. I mean, I like the CrossFit Games. I like watching them. Would I do it? No, I think a lot of the things are silly, but you know, it doesn't change things. It's pretty damn cool. These are some of the best athletes in the world doing amazing things. So Glassman, in some ways, is a visionary. In other ways, Glassman is a jackass hick. And that's, you know what, I'm being nice. So what happens is, a day or so ago, Glassman posts Floyd 19. Now, in case you're confused, Glassman basically doesn't feel that COVID is a thing and it's stupid and we all should just go back, you know, to the way we are. We shouldn't be quarantined. So by posting Floyd 19, what Glassman is saying is, this whole thing with George Floyd being murdered and the protests that are happening and the social unrest and change that is finally happening, he's saying that's pointless, useless. It's the same as COVID. Not surprisingly, people were not happy. It's about time somebody called Glassman out. Let's be honest. I mean, he has had world run over CrossFit for years. He does crazy things like fire affiliates when they are questioning something that headquarters does online. They would ask a simple question. He's like, your affiliation's done, because he's like that. He's an angry, he strikes me, I don't know the guy personally, but he comes off like an angry, somewhat crazy individual. So this is what Greg has done. Not surprisingly, the CrossFit athletes and the gyms are going, whoa, wait a second, we're not racist. We believe in this shit. What are you doing? And Greg won't back down. He doesn't care because Greg feels that Greg knows best. Fine, whatever. I think he's drank his own Kool-Aid way too much. Greg has had too many yes men and women in his life praising him as if he's the coming, you know, the second coming of something. And he now thinks that what he says is true. The amazing part about this is there are affiliates, and that's what CrossFit gyms are called. They're called boxes, but they have an affiliation with CrossFit headquarters. They are dropping the CrossFit name like that. Rich Froning had an entire post. He's probably the biggest star in CrossFit. An entire post how CrossFit Mayhem is now just Mayhem, and he does not agree with this in any way, shape, or form. Not surprisingly, because you know what? Any of us with a brain in our heads, we don't do, you know, anybody who thinks logically is not racist. Unfortunately, Greg Glassman obviously is a little racist. That's just the facts. So what's happening is this enormous tectonic change with CrossFit because they're dropping the name. And people are like, well, they're just dropping the name. Who cares? Okay, well, yeah, they are dropping the name, which means they don't do the whole affiliation thing anymore. They don't call themselves CrossFit Mayhem, for example. It's call themselves Mayhem Fitness or whatever. Okay, that's fine. You can do that. I have a small cat back here who thinks that attacking me, that would be you, attacking me in the middle of a video is a wise move. Can we not do that? Yeah, I know. He's nice, but he's got a little attitude on him. All right, so they're dropping the name, and people are like, well, why does it matter they drop the name? Well, here's why. There's a number of things that go into this. So a CrossFit gym has to pay money to have the affiliation with CrossFit. So they can drop that name anytime they want, and that's fine. They drop the name. However, they also have their certifications through CrossFit headquarters. So when you drop the name, where's the affiliate, you know, where's the certification suddenly going to come from? How are the CrossFit trainers going to certify themselves? They don't want to certify themselves with Greg Glassman, obviously, because he's coming off like a racist jackass. So nobody wants to do that. But then where are they getting What's happening here? Sponsors are dropping left, right, and center. What happens to CrossFit as a brand? I have no idea. That's the amazing part. No one knows, but it does look like CrossFit may just disappear. Right now, Rogue Fitness, who give all the gear and stuff, they're the big sponsor for gear for the CrossFit Games and CrossFit in general. They're the gold standard, right? If you're a CrossFit gym, you buy Rogue gear. It's all cool. Rogue gear is pretty good. I wouldn't say Rogue gear is significantly better than other things. It's okay. It's good. Rogue has already started to put on what's called the Rogue Invitational. The Rogue Invitational is basically CrossFit Games with Rogue. And they decided they were going to do that. Last year, really good. It's fun to watch. It was well done. CrossFit had fired their entire PR and TV team. Rogue hired the entire PR and TV team. It was like watching the CrossFit Games, but some of it was better, which was interesting and different because Glassman decided that he wasn't doing that anymore. He didn't want the CrossFit Games. He didn't like it. So Glassman, like I say, he's coming off a little crazy. But what happens to all these CrossFit gyms is the real question. And what happens to the CrossFit athletes? And what happens, break it right down to the CrossFit trainers. Where do they get their certification now? What is happening? So right now, CrossFit, there is an enormous amount of upheaval. CrossFit as a brand may end. Is it the end of the world? No, it won't kill anybody. But it is an amazing moment. My guess and my prediction for this is I say either one of two things. Either A, another company comes and buys CrossFit and kicks Glassman out and CrossFit continues, which means CrossFit doesn't disappear. Or B, Rogue takes it over, CrossFit disappears as a brand altogether and you become either Reebok or Rogue because those are the major sponsors, either Reebok or Rogue Gym. So you'll have, Rogue Mayhem or Reebok Mayhem. That would be my prediction, but who knows? What's your prediction? What do you think will happen to CrossFit? I'm curious to know. Have yourself an amazing day, guys. Don't fight the awesome.